Hi, I'm Jordan and welcome to Told by Thread. I think I'll just bring my notes from this next bit. And that is just doing like a quick review of what I've learned, what I learned I love, what I can do better, XYZ. So, probably one of the biggest things I learned was that I need to read the instructions, or better yet, watch the tutorial video before I do any of these projects, particularly if it's something I have already made. Surprisingly, you would think, oh, that's the problem. I think I know, but I don't. I made a massive mistake with the Willow wrap dress on something that I should have known. I have noticed I have a problem with reading the pattern pieces where it says how many to cut, what to do on the fold, what to, all that sort of stuff. I tried highlighting things in different color codes, but for whatever reason, my brain just is like, so I think the best way around that is just to go over the instructions again and watch the tutorials just to refresh my memory on some basics. And then, as I've said before, a sewing journal. So I've seen a lot of them online. There's quite a few free ones to download. Because I have a graphic design background, I just can't help myself and I want to design my own. So, I mean, that won't take me long. And then I think I'll just get that printed at a copy shop and bound there. Something cute, but not too expensive. Obviously, I highly recommend buying one from a small maker or business. I'm just silly and want to do everything myself. But I like the idea of mainly putting in your notes about things to remember, what adjustments you made, did you grade between sizes? What sizes did you do? And then obviously you put in things of your fabric and you can put swatches in, which is fun. But yeah, mainly it's the notes that are outside of the instructions that are really important that you need to know for yourself. Three other just quick takeaways was fabric is very important. Go with the recommendations, but also research the fabric if there's any special things you need to know about handling it. I didn't know anything about viscose. I researched that for a dress that I'm going to make in spring. And then I realized after I made the circle skirt, I think that's what I had here, which I didn't even know. So, like, I couldn't have researched it anyway, but it did explain what went wrong there. And so now I know what to do next time. And go slowly. Even though I'm filming all this and I have a bit of a time crunch because I want to do one video a week, I'm not going to be sewing every week, obviously, because that's just, I can't do that. But when I am, I'm still trying to work out my schedule to enable me to just really go slowly. Not so much to stop making mistakes, but just to enjoy it again. I want to really enjoy this, which I still am, but not be so stressed. Okay, so some of the things I learned that I love. Bias binding hemming. Love that. Didn't think I would. I want to use it for everything. So I used it on the circle skirt hem. I did it even on the sleeves, which I should have cut these down because they were still too long for my liking. And then I ended up just folding it in again. So it's all hidden. But when it was out on the edge, it was a really nice match to the green because I used a green bias tape. And even on this wrap dress, I did a similar concept where I just cut out some of the shirting fabric that I had left over from the circle skirt to do almost like a hem facing. I think it's just beautiful finish. I mentioned in this video that I watched Evelyn Wood's latest video on vintage finishing techniques. She's so right. There's so many beautiful techniques like bias binding and binding your seams on the inside and just things that take extra time, but it just makes it feel so special. And it actually also changes the way your garment like looks and hangs, and it's just beautiful. So I'm really excited by some of that. And the other thing that I really loved about this whole process was seasonal planning, which when I started sewing like 2 years ago or something, I was just sort of hit and miss whenever I felt like doing something. And that's been great. But what I've loved about this process is it's really made me narrow my focus on, okay, what patterns do you want to use? What fabrics do you already have that would work with that? and I love a theme. So without meaning to, I ended up with a beautiful winter color palette. I enjoyed that so much that I'm like, I'm going to do that for each season. So I've already come up with a bit of a color palette for spring and summer. So I kind of have colors in my Told by Thread branding that are all colors that I really love wearing and I'm just drawn to. And so that just naturally extends to the clothes that I'm planning to make. So yeah, I'm really loving that, doing color themes. What else? Oh, and finally, just two things that I learned out of this whole process that I'm really proud of myself. I did some really, for me, very difficult things that I hadn't done before, namely self drafting, a couple of new sewing techniques. Even though pretty much things went wrong every single time, I'm still incredibly proud of myself for keeping going and just having a go. Like, that's how we learn. And there's nothing wrong with making mistakes. Actually, everyone makes mistakes all the time, no matter how experienced they are with sewing. It's just the reality. So, yeah, I'm also really incredibly proud of myself for managing to get a video out each week. It doesn't sound like a lot, but I didn't know coming into this how incredibly intense the workload is of doing a YouTube video, particularly for something like sewing. Yeah, it's insane. So I'm still finessing everything, but I look back and I'm like, I've done like how many? I've done 7 videos in a month and a half. I'm just so proud of myself. Yeah, all by myself. It's been really hard, but so rewarding. And I'm so excited about the spring projects that I have coming up. I'll be filming that soon. Anyway, so I thought I'd take you through all the garments that I made from my winter thread plans. If you've been following along from the beginning, you'll know a lot of these. So, what should we start with? First up was the Lane Pants by Sydney Graham. I used a shepherd linen from Draper's Fabrics here in Sydney. This is the second garment I've used making this fabric. I got a bunch of this fabric and I had enough for the tie dress by Sewing Therapy, and then these ones used up most of what I had left. So this is a really easy make. I tried doing it in one day and realized I'm quite a slow sewer and it was a bit stressful for me. But I have lived in these since I made them and my absolute favorite. I totally get the hype now and I will definitely be making some more of these. A couple of you made some really great suggestions of other elastic waist pants, so I've been looking into those and I have added one to my spring plans, so stay tuned for that. So these are high-waisted with the elastic waist and I put in the drawstring option. I chose not to do the cargo pockets because it's not really my style. They're wide leg, so super comfy. I chose this fabric because I wanted something that was a little bit more kind of elevated, well, something I felt comfortable going outside in without looking like I was wearing pajamas, which some people might contend these do look like pajamas, but I feel comfortable wearing these out as main pants. I still haven't done the extra stitching around the waistband, which I did do on my first pair that I wear at home, and I definitely recommend that because the elastic does twist around a little bit. Once you have that stitching in, don't have the problem. But if you saw that video, you'll know what happened and why I haven't done that yet, but I'm getting to it eventually. Okay, next up is one that is unfinished. This was my apron style dress that I self drafted based on something on my Pinterest board. This did not turn out the way I had planned, and that was because I made quite a few mistakes along the way, but I think she came out quite well. I'm about to film some of the footage for embroidering onto this. So at the moment, all the blue marks are where I'm going to be doing some floral embroidery with Australian flowers front and back. I'm in two minds. I'm sort of thinking I might actually pull this a little bit apart and get some more of the muslin fabric just because it was so cheap next time I'm at the Remnant Warehouse, and substitute that middle panel so that it is mostly the muslin with just the one bliss stripe panel. Still not completely sold on the broderie anglaise trim. Yeah, but I think I might wait until I've done all the embroidery and just see how it looks all at once. I think it's a good thing to just sometimes when things don't work out, don't be hard on yourself, which I have been for a month and a half, and reminding myself not to be. Don't be hard on yourself. Just kind of set it to the side, come back to it later. Sometimes you'll have changed your mind once you've had a bit of distance from stress of sewing. If anyone said that sewing is not stressful, but yeah, by and large, this has been a really successful make, and I cannot wait to get all the embroidery done. I think it's going to be beautiful. I'm really looking forward to wearing this in spring with some new pants that I'm planning, possibly even the lane pants. But yeah, this is going to be such a great layering piece to wear all year round. Really feel your artsy fartsy vibe. So yeah, pretty happy with how that's coming along so far, even with all the hiccups along the way. Okay, now this one was a doozy. This is when I learned that fabric choice matters. And obviously, if you're buying from a fabric store where it's all labeled, fantastic. If you're buying secondhand or op shop fabric, it's a bit trickier. And if you're not super familiar, you can make mistakes. So, what I thought was cotton turns out to be, I'm pretty sure, a viscose blend. So, this one just stretched beyond belief. She's wearable. I did actually wear this out for my birthday drinks the other week. Obviously, no one noticed. It was really comfortable. My whole idea worked out. She stayed up. She was super comfy, sturdy, great. I'm just so annoyed with pockets. They drive me crazy. So, if you don't know, this was the full circle skirt that I also self drafted, but also hacked the waddle skirt by Megan Nielsen. So, it was a bit of a mashup. My idea was to make it fully adjustable with an elastic tab with D-rings and then a little elastic loop on the inside that you put it around the button hidden inside so that it takes the stress points when you're moving around and sitting and bending and all that, and it totally works. I will definitely make this again one day because I lined this with shirting fabric and that turned out perfectly. So yeah, one thing that really became a theme with this whole month was it really dented my confidence. And I don't know if that was because I was filming it, just there's like this added stress of trying to film everything and being perceived, even though like I can't see any of you. A different vibe, definitely, to what I've been doing for the last sort of 2 years since I started sewing. So that's been something to process. I keep reminding myself that I'm doing incredibly well to have made all of these so far and really trying out some ideas that are probably beyond my skill set, but I'm sort of delusional enough to give it a go. And I don't think that's a bad thing because sometimes, honestly, that's the best way to learn is making mistakes. And you know what? I got this beautiful fabric for an incredibly cheap price. So, you know, it was pretty low stakes, really. And it is absolutely wearable. It's just the pockets are all wrong. That annoys me because I'm a bit of a perfectionist. Yeah, I'm still quite proud of myself. And I'm looking forward to, with a lot of these makes, doing them again in future when I feel inspired to. Yeah, seeing how far I come along with my skills. Okay, hopefully this one works because I just camera stopped on that one. So fingers crossed. So this one I just finished. Once again, has been just a collection of silly mistakes, which it's so easy to beat yourself up about. So this one was my hack of the Willow wrap dress by Rosary Apparel. And I've made this before in a really lightweight cotton and I get compliments on it all the time. So I was really looking forward to doing this hack based on something I saw on my Pinterest. By and large, I'm pretty happy with how it came out. I'll be posting the video for this one in a few weeks, but some of the basic mistakes I did was when I pulled out the pattern pieces. I can't remember what I did last time, whether I graded between sizes. I think I did some alterations to the neckline. I just tried to make sense of what I'd done before because it was a long time ago. But I think I figured it out. Unfortunately, I made some really stupid basic mistakes that may have affected the fit, so you'll have to stay tuned for that video. But by and large, the fit is okay. I think I'm going to have to adjust the darts on the back for my sway back, and I don't know why it's different on this dress than the first one I made because I didn't have that problem with that dress. I'm wondering if it's because I've used linen, which is heavier than the cotton that I used, whether it's because I've done patchworking, whether it's because it's a maxi. I don't know. But yeah, I'll play around with that. The neckline's also gaping a little bit and quite low, which I don't remember that with my first one. So that's a bit of a worry. So I've just popped a press stud there to keep things closed, and I'm going to have to wear a slip dress underneath this, but that's fine. I think it still looks really lovely on. I'm pretty happy with how this turned out, and I'm looking forward to wearing it as a good sort of trans-seasonal piece. Yeah, because it's a slightly thicker cotton, I think this will be good for slightly cooler spring days. I'm not sure if I'll wear this in summer. It might be a little bit too warm with the sleeves. But yeah, I'm really happy with it. I love the tassels. I love the colors and the combination. I even like the hidden bias tape on the inside, even though a lot of people would see that as a mistake. I kind of like it. One massive boo-boo that I did was put the buttonhole for the sash to go through on one of the back seams on the dart. So dumb. And not only put the buttonhole there, I cut into it. So I've had to patch that up today with a bit of visible mending with sashiko, and I think it'll hold up okay. I didn't have my sashiko thread here, so I just used some thin cotton, quilting cotton. Anyway, I think that's a bit stronger than embroidery thread, so that should hopefully stand up okay. But yeah, I think she came out really beautiful from my original vision, so I'm pretty happy. Okay, last one, and this one is still very much a work in progress, and I haven't really touched it since I did that winter thread plans video. That's my moss stitch sweater. I had some really great advice from I can't remember who now, but lots of great comments in on that video with some advice. And because this is a sewn flat, because it's a vintage pattern, the advice was to block it as you go along. So I haven't done the side seams yet. I was a little bit worried about the neckline being too small, and when I originally did it, I didn't do a stretchy bind off, and I could barely. It just sat on top of my head. But then I did, I think it's Jenny's super stretchy bind off, and that's heaps better. But it could still be a little bit bigger. So at some point, I'm going to pull out my blocking mats and give this a block before I do the sleeves. Obviously, because winter is almost over, pretty much over now, I won't be wearing this till next year now, but that gives me time to just go slowly and do the sleeves in my own time. I think in my thread plans video I said I was going to do them in the round, but now I've changed my mind and I think I might give it a go with knitting them flat and then sewing them in. Yeah, I love a moss stitch. It's lovely and squishy. It feels great. I'm hoping it's not too small, but then I did want something quite fitted, which is fine. It's just going to be that neckline. So, but as I've said before, I'm not averse to completely frogging entire projects and redoing them. So we shall see how we go. There's a couple of other knitting projects that I flagged in my winter thread plans video that I would love to get started on for summer and winter to wear with the apron dress. It was like a little crop toppy type one. Also mentioned the boardwalk blouse, which I would love to have a go at. I'm sort of going to let that one just float in the back of my mind for a while until the right color combo or outfit inspiration strikes. I'm learning to be a little bit more discerning and not try to do everything. So yeah, still work in progress, unfortunately. I think I'll get back to this once the apron dress embroidery is done because I tend to do my knitting in the evenings. And right now I'll be doing embroidery in the evenings for the foreseeable future. Yeah, stay tuned for this one getting actually finished. I'll be posting a bit more on my social media, which has been lacking, but it's getting there. Yeah, what have I got coming up? So the video for the Willow dress will be coming out in 2 weeks. And then the week after that, I'll be sharing my spring plans, which I'm so excited about. Next week, I'll be sharing a bit about my embroidery. So this is a cross stitch pattern that I'll be releasing at some point. It's all finished, it just needs to be sewn up. So yeah, that'll just be a quick video next week showing how I do that and talking about my cross stitch plans. Yeah, so stay tuned for all that. So I hope you enjoyed looking back at all the things that I've made over the last few weeks. And that's it. I think that's enough waffling. Thank you for being here, and I will see you next time.